Good morning, everyone. What I got for you today is, sorry, I guess it's loud. My dogs are being a little bit loud in the background, so hopefully you can hear me over them. So yesterday, or this past weekend, today's Monday, there was a 2-day card show the last couple days. I couldn't make it on Saturday. I was smoking a brisket. I got up at 3:30 to do that. And actually, now that I think about it, I took some video when we cut that open. I may have to post that, even though this is supposed to be a sports card thing. Smoking and grilling meats has become something I've really started enjoying and exploring a lot more the last year. And that brisket was it was pretty amazing, and it looked good when I cut it open. So I took like a 2-minute video of that. Some of y'all probably won't care. Some of you may. So post it and hide it in its own little place, and it'll not just be Beans Ball Card blog. I guess it'll be Beans Barbecue blog as well. But anyway, so I didn't make it up till yesterday. Card show was in Plano, Texas. Spent the full 4 hours there. Didn't plan to. Really went up to see Roger Neufeld. He comes in a few times a year from Norman, Oklahoma, but he is all vintage and is probably who I've bought most of my T206 cards off of. So I was excited to see him. Hadn't seen him in about 6 or 7 months. So this is kind of part one. This is the stuff. The first card I'll show you I picked up for my cousin. The other stuff's for me. And then I'm going to do another post. You'll probably see it in the next couple days of stuff I picked up out of a dime box and dollar box. That one will be longer because it was a nice stack of cards. This one will be pretty short, but just going to show off some of the fun stuff I bought yesterday. So the first card, as I mentioned, is actually my cousin just is getting back into cards. His dad, my uncle, is the one that got me into cards. And then he and his brother got out of it, and he's starting to get back into it a little bit. So part of the reason for going to the show, too, was to kind of look for some stuff for him. So, first off, the card that I picked up for him, Frank Thomas. Let's see, this is a 2002. It looks like Leaf Certified Materials jersey with a pinstripe through it. 2005, I guess. So, numbered out of 100. He's going to see this video. He's been watching my videos. He's going to see it before it comes. So here you go, Doug. This one's for you. I love this. I love the older relic cards as opposed to the new ones where now everything's event worn or just complete crap. They were a lot better back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. Love this one for the price. Thought I'd add it to his collection. He hasn't really decided who or what he wants to collect yet, but he's kind of starting with Auburn. He's an Auburn alum, as a lot of my family over there is Auburn alum and fans. So this will be for you, Doug. All right. Rest of them are all me. Picked all of these up off of Roger, the gentleman I talked about. That card, the last card, the Frank Thomas, and all of the dime and dollar box cards were picked up off Dave, who I spend decent amount of money with at those shows. He probably, other than Roger, he's probably where I spend, allocate the most amount of my money. So we're going to go on these. We're going to go from basically the least exciting to the most exciting. Or you can look at it as probably about the cheapest to the most expensive, but we'll go from there. So I picked this one up he had an oddball box. I just picked this up. I don't remember exactly what year, but these are the Topps Scoops cards. And honestly, just the reason that I picked that up was, it says the Boy Scouts were organized February 8th, 1910. Got it for $1. I'm an Eagle Scout, potentially the world's worst Eagle Scout ever, but I am an Eagle Scout nonetheless. And, from a better time when the Boy Scouts were actually the Boy Scouts and not we have to let girls in too. Yeah. So anyway, moving on. So that was cool. That was just something, every once in a while I'll go through a box, or if I get it into a binder, I'll take a look at it and, have those childhood memories. So the next few, looks like the next 5 cards are all going to be 1971 Topps cards. This has long been one of my favorite sets. When I was a teenager, I was actually working on this set, you know, within a teenage budget and buying all kinds of new shiny cards. I got, I think, about 200, maybe 200 cards in, and eventually at some point needed the money, so I sold them off. And, you know, now I'm just looking to acquire them, and at some point I'll maybe say that I have enough to put the set together. So I picked this one up. If you see that bottom left corner is kind of rough, but other than that, the card looks good. Not a lot of white, and then part of the reasoning on this one to pick up a common player is that's card 749, which is a high number. I don't know what the going rate is on high numbers compared to the others. I just know that they command a little bit of a premium, so I was like, okay, let's go ahead and grab that. So, name you've probably seen a lot the last week. I believe you say it, his first name's Red, obviously. I think it's Shindinst is how you say his last name. I'm sure somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but he passed away last week. Manager card for $1. Looks to be in pretty good shape. It's just a 239, so it's a relatively low number. Willie Stargell, yeah, it's off center, but it's not horrible. And when I say it's not horrible, I'm sure some people are looking at it going, oh, that's brutal. But if you know 1971 Topps, you know how much of it out there that is really tore up and really beat up. So for $2, Hall of Famer, sure. Bob Gritch for $1. That was more of a, I think this is his rookie card, so it has a slight amount of premium. It's probably like a $5 card, $10 card, something like that. Picked it up, looked at the back. Yep, his life stats matches his 1970 stats, so it is a rookie. And then finally, Carl Yastrzemski, $2 again, off center, but you know, whatever for what it is. And so 530, so it's a little bit of a higher number. Again, I want to put together at some point a set of these, hand collate, and you know, it's going to be low grade because I just want to be able to say I did it. I'm not worried about a high grade. It's just something I'm doing for fun. So that is the plan. So next card. Rest of these are going to be much older than 1971. So my next card here is a T206 Groom. I did not pull up what I should have for scarcity numbers, but I believe this to be a pretty common card. He had this in his like oddball discount box without a price. So I thought, you know, maybe it's miscut, or I'm sorry, maybe it's been altered, maybe it's been trimmed, something like that. But I held it up to a few others, and it seems to be consistent on the sizing. So for the price I got that for, I was really happy. You know, a little bit, you can see a little bit of marking there on the bottom right side, a little bit of wear there at the very top of the blue. But, you know, I got it for pretty much a bottom end price for a T206, and for that, it's in pretty good shape. I've paid more for worse cards before, so I was happy about that. This one here was the lowest price one he had in his case, and I asked him, I said, why is this only, you know, X amount of dollars? And he's like, you know what? I really don't know. So we talked about it for just a minute. I was like, well, maybe it's, you know, maybe you thought it was trimmed when you looked at it. He's like, yeah, that's probably it. So I took a look at it. I didn't have my loop with me. Didn't see any evidence of trimming and held it up to some others, and it looked good. So another low-end T206 to add to my T206 binder. And then my last T206 was also one of the cheaper ones he had. The thing that was exciting about this one is if you know much about T206 and are on Net54, there is one user that has done a plate scratch thread. He's trying to put like what a uncut sheet of these might have looked like based on plate scratches on the back. And as you can see on this one, in the upper left, by the baseball series, and then in front of the one and down the side, you can see that there's a plate scratch there. This is probably not a newly discovered plate scratch. But for the low price, I was excited to finally be able to say one. I'm kind of obsessed with the cards that have stamps and things like that on them from people's personal collections. Would love to pick some of those up. And the plate scratches, I enjoy those too. It's the stories, it's the history, it's the knowledge of the T206 cards that make them so fun. And that was really an exciting purchase for that. Last card was not a T206. I actually was debating between this card and a T206 and ended up going with this one because it is my first T210 card. This was an 8 series, I believe, set that was released with various minor leagues. I know that the key cards out of the T210 set are, I believe Casey Stengel is the manager that's in it, but the big boy is the Joe Jackson, which very difficult to find, very high prices. This card was a common, but in relatively good shape compared to a lot of them that I've seen. What was interesting to me was that it is a Dallas card. This is from Series 3, which was the Texas League. I want to collect the Fort Worth team set, but there is another diehard Fort Worth collector that is probably beating me to them, is more well known, so he ends up with them. But this was like I said, Dallas card. I live in Arlington, which is between Fort Worth and Dallas, so it was a neat pickup. Back's very clean on it. We got something going on in the old mill. I'm assuming that's how it was, perhaps some kind of tape or something, some kind of adhesive into a book. I might be wrong, but it's a rectangle, so who's to say? I'm sure there are people out there that know better than I. But this was my final pickup for the day. It'll go into my binder. I'll either keep it or maybe I'll find a Fort Worth card and somebody wants a Dallas that I can trade down the line. But was pretty happy with this. Was kind of down to this or a Bastion San Antonio T206 Southern Leaguer, and I know I'll be able to find the T206 a lot easier than these. These aren't as popular, they don't command the prices, but they are a lot more scarce than a T206 card, so it's cool to have one. Like I said, now I've got some trade bait if a nice Fort Worth one can come along, or maybe a couple lower grade Fort Worth. We shall see. So anyway, those were the highlights of my card show from yesterday. Would love to read any of your comments or anything like that down in the comment section below, whether that be on the YouTube video itself, or if you're watching this off of one of my blogs where I'll post this. Would love to hear any comments, questions, or anything like that. I'll be coming back to you soon. Probably the next one will be the dollar and dime box pickups from yesterday. For a lot of you, that'll just be it'll be a stroll down memory lane because it's a lot of 80s, 90s, that kind of stuff. Until then, happy collecting, y'all, and I will talk to you later.